Can you see me?
Yeah. Okay. I think we're back. Let's wait for confirmation from the Twitch. Are we back? Twitch, are we back? YouTube, are we back? Let me post a link to the new tube. Excellent. I don't know what happened there. That's the first time StreamYard has ever let me down. So, thank you all, everyone, for letting me know on literally every channel I had open, to be told. Sorry, Marcin, where were you?
That's okay. Right, so I was looking up how do we convert a text, essentially, how do we convert a bunch of bytes into a text? And yeah, I found it. We have a method called text from UTF-8. And then I realized that we don't actually need to do this because this example isn't even using the response. So we'll just read all bytes to flush all the buffers and ignore the result for now. Okay, so next slide. We are on line 7 of Java. So we go response equals, this is the response. We are not going to be placing semicolons. If I place a semicolon, please tell me I've done so.
Okay. Piece of muscle memory you're trying to work out.
Exactly. Okay, and then we go send response headers 200 and response.length. I assume this is talking about length in bytes, but this is all ASCII range, so we should be fine with just length. And then we go os equals t.get response body, and we go os.write, and now we have to convert our response to bytes, which is going to be something like response.utf8.toArray, and we close it. All right, and so this should give us the handler.
Okay.
So we can get rid of this, and now the actual main method. Okay. So I need to create a server first.
Great.
So server http server dot create. Okay, I have none of this imported, so I will be importing soon. But let's first finish this line.
Makes sense.
I need what? I need inet socket. Inet socket address of 8000 and a 0, whatever the 0 does. We will be actually learning what we are doing later on.
Translate the code first, understand it second. That's fine. I'm on board with this strategy.
Stack Overflow driven development, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need polyglot Java import, and what are we importing? We are importing an HTTP server, which is coming from...
That's what I was explaining when we went down. Yeah. Standard library docs currently in the code files is linked in that discussion thread that I dropped earlier. I'll drop that link again. I'll also drop that link in YouTube. We will have those exposed on a website very soon. Matt, check if you're still watching. I will be having words with you about doing that.
All right. So we know the package. We are importing from this package, and we are importing the class called HTTP server. And we are also creating a new inet socket address, which I believe is going to be from java.net. Inet socket address.
Grim Tuesday asks, can you import a Java package that isn't in the standard library?
Yes, you can. Actually, if you go to our, okay, let me just show you. If you go to our package that you can download from GitHub, you can go to the sources of our standard library. And now you will notice next to the sources directory, there is a magic polyglot directory. Now, if I list the contents of the polyglot directory, there is a directory called Java. And in the directory called Java, we have a bunch of jars. All of the jars that you place in this directory in your library are going to be automatically importable through this system. So this is how all of our standard library actually works. We have a bunch of stuff written in Java, and we just import it like this. And it's a general mechanism for all libraries.
Beautiful. Hope that answers your question, Grim Tuesday.
All right, so we've got this. We have created the server. Now we need to create a context, whatever a context is. Create context of applications, my app. I assume this is like a route. And they do new my handler, where my handler is the class they defined. So we are going to use the singleton we have. Server.setExecutor. They use a null. We will use our counterpart of null. It's not really a null. It's a standard data type. But Java will see this as a null. So whenever you pass our nothing into Java, Java just sees a null.
They say null. Cool.
Yes. And we start the server.
Context is a really weird term for that.
Yeah. Okay. So if I haven't done anything stupid, this should just work, I hope.
Yeah, it looks like it's just routing. Context represents a mapping between the root URL path of an application to a handler.
All right, so now I'm running the project in the current directory. This will take a while to start because of the slowness of parsing our standard library sources.
Do you remember what the root that was that you just defined there? It was applications my app?
Yes, I think. Ooh, wait, why is this? I think I haven't even started the process. Okay. Yes, it should be localhost 8000 applications my app. Let's go there. Localhost.
We're not serving anything at the moment, right?
Oh wait, this just stopped side.
Wait, we have our first problem. I was worried this was going to be a really short stream.
No, the problem is this is a Java server, right? Java servers have the property of spawning everything on separate threads, and then our main thread exited, and we didn't wait for this one.
Got you.
So we are just going to do the oldest trick in the book, which is.
So you're solving that problem I said earlier about needing a way to persist Enso so that we can catch webhooks.
IO.read ln. Yeah, like this is
beautiful.
Delicious. This is what programming tutorials always did when I was a child. So I guess this is what we will be doing now. Alrighty.
I need to change the music. I'm going to fall asleep listening to this. Sorry, everyone. We're going back to synthwave. Waiting for Enso to start. Oh, there we go. Okay, so
wait, this.
Does it exit immediately?
Yes, we did. What? Oh
no, what?
I pressed one too many enters when I started the command. Look, you can see the empty line here.
So you gave readline something?
Yes. Let's do this.
Maciek, I will ask that question as soon as we've got through this bit.
Yeah. So the problem, as usual, it was located between the keyboard.
Chair and keyboard. Oh, Ara beat us to it. So Magic's question was, how does my handler know that it implements HTTP handler? And Ara has said the magic of Gra. Oh, and now she signed you up to give proper explanations. There you go.
Okay, wait. Starting server, and it didn't immediately quit. Let's see. Right, so we have not found... This is good. This means there is a server running.
Something is being served, yep.
So we want to go to applications, my app. Applications, my app. Yay, we got it. Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So as you can see, you can just blindly copy-paste Stack Overflow answers for Java into Enso, and they will work.
Perfect. So Maciek's question was, how does my handler know that it implements protocol HTTP handler?
Oh, well, it's essentially cheating. So what Graal does is that Graal is it's not actually implementing this protocol. So what Graal does is when we are calling it here, it looks at the signature of the create context method, and it sees that this requires an interface, and then dynamically creates a dummy instance of the interface that will be delegating to this type. And because we have a function, a method called handle on this interface. Graal we delegate to this one, and yeah, that's pretty much it. All the methods that are created in Enso are also callable from Java. So Java can call Enso method without knowing it's calling an Enso method. All
Sorry,
right.
hang on. Wojtek, why are you sending me Hacker News links while we're live? Don't try and kill me while I'm on air.
Ooh, are we on Hacker
Hi,
News?
Hacker News. We're on the Orange website.
Yay, hello. All right. Let's do something better. What do we do with this now? It would probably be useful to read the request body.
Yes, I think that will. Yes.
But how do? Yeah, okay. We have to think about how to debug request bodies, unless we want to actually connect to this from another Enso instance with our HTTP client. Huh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Anyway. Right, so we get the response body. We want to read the request body. So this. Read all bytes, and we actually want to go text from unit 8 of this. Okay. I'm thinking, how do we test this? So do I just curl into the server with bodies, or do I?
Yeah, I would curl it. You don't have ngrok installed by any chance, do you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, so I guess you'll be testing it on your end with curl. Then I think curl will be best. I can build some. What is it you want to test it with? I can build you a curl request while you're doing the Enso part of it.
Well, I just want to connect to this and see my request being.
Got you. I'll see it being read.
So something like. Let me actually. Right, so this should be a vector.
Grim Tuesday asking, is text from UTF-8 preferable to R.to UTF-8? So that's, where are we doing that? That line on request body. Yeah.
Those are two different directions of the same thing, right? So to UTF-8 is going to convert my text into a vector of UTF-8 bytes, and from UTF-8 is going to take a vector of UTF-8 bytes and convert them into text. So text in Enso is more user facing, right? So like, for example, the notion of length of text is connected to the extended grapheme clusters in that, meaning, for example, a single emoji, even though it's 7 bytes, it will display as a text of length 1. So when we are interacting with something so low level as sending bytes over the wire, then we are going to be using UTF-8.
Great.
Serialization. All right. Do you have a curl command for me?
I don't. I got distracted because I thought you said you didn't need one. I thought you said you were gonna just do a basic curl against the endpoint.
Right. I don't know how to use curl though.
Yeah. 1 sec. Curl is like regular expressions to me, where I forget it every time. Exactly. So we're doing get, and it's on that. So it's going to be curl -xget.
Lowercase, uppercase?
I don't think it matters. I think do it all lowercase and see what happens. And then I think that's fine. And then the URL, so localhost 8000, you can include the port in it. And then I guess you're just printing the body, right? There's no validation or anything.
Okay, let's check that. So I just go like this. This is my body.
Yeah, give that a go.
Right away. could not resolve proxy get.
Oh, sorry, flag. You need so after the... Wait, it could not do... Oh, sorry, x get, no space between x and get. It's hyphen x get, yeah. And then...
Still doesn't do anything?
Interesting. Try... for a get, I think it defaults to get. So just try doing curl -d. So -d is for the body.
Wait,
so -d
curl URL -d.
Yeah, and then -d for body. Yeah, try that.
Cool, that worked. We got a response, and we get
now to figure out why xget didn't work.
And we get my body printed here. So this is great. So now let's start actually. Well, let's start with refactoring what we already have, so that I can sort of start working on a lower level.
I'm really dumb. I told you to do a get when you were giving it a body. That is not how get works, and is why that didn't work.
No, you can have a body in a get.
I don't know why it didn't work then. Xget should have worked. This is not important. I'll go mess around.
But I didn't have -d. Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah, maybe. But it was complaining about the get. Anyway.
Whatever. Right. So let's start with a simple refactoring. So we'll give this a field that will be called a handler. And this handler will be a function from text to text.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will be able to do this much easier in main without actually modifying like all of this super low level logic of understanding what a byte is. So we can get rid of this. Now response equals this dot handler of request body. So what I'm doing is I'm using the lambda that I will be passing into my handler. I'm passing it I'm passing it this request text, and I expect a text back that I will serialize and send it there. Send it to... Yeah, okay. Let's also create a simple helper to start this whole server. So let's do start equals, let's get rid of all this. This will take a handler function, and we want to pass this here. Right, so now if everything went right, I can just go here dot start, and I can pass a lambda, so I can go request, and then let's return, let's print the request again, request, and IO, and return successfully handled this plus request. So this is going to be our response. We are an eco server. Let's start this server again, see what happens. So if everything went right, we already have a much nicer API where we can just write our server logic in this body here. And we will need to figure out routing at some point of our lives, but
for my very selfish use case, a Battlesnake Yes for Milk, it has 4 routes, but that's fine. For now, we're getting there. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Nice.
That works.
Very good.
Amazing.
Do you want to now with that D in? Can you try with the x get flag again?
Sure.
Because D apparently defaults to a post.
Nope, that doesn't work. Maybe I can do this without a body.
Yeah.
No, even without a body, this still could not resolve proxy get.
I don't know what that means. Oh, it is capital X. Joe, I don't think the casing will matter. Nash, welcome to live streaming.
Yes, this helps.
Hey! I know how to use basic bash commands. I have a computer science degree. Cool.
Yeah, me too. Also, I have created a lot of a programming language and a standard library for it, and I still cannot use curl.
Yeah.
So yeah, no judging, please. All right. So what? So we probably want to do something with JSON now.
Yes.
So let's just start faking it. Let's say that the request is something like. Do I need to quote this? I probably need to quote this, right?
Yeah, we probably need to quote it.
Let's try.
Ambitious. Multiple fields.
Oh yeah. Okay, this worked. Ooh, now I understand why it went off screen. This is a wide window.
What's happening? Oh, I see.
When I was command plusing, it decided to not resize the window for some reason. Just kept making it longer and longer.
Perfect.
So let's get back to something that actually makes sense. Okay.
Wojtek asks, "What is in the folder?" I missed this. Was there like some mysterious folder on your desktop? Did you have a folder of sins?
Things we should not see.
Perfect.
Also known as YouTube only content.
Amazing.
Okay, so we can do this. We can use JSON from curl. We are hackers. I'm not afraid to say it.
Perfect.
Right. So request JSON is going to be JSON.parse request, and let's let's print what we think this represents. So let's say foo, yeah, that was foo. Foo is plus rec JSON dot get what? Get foo. Okay, that was silly. I also want to convert this to text. All right, and I want to respond with what? I want to respond with some other JSON, let's say. So let's go JSON.from pairs. So what this from pairs method does is it takes a vector of key value pairs and will return an object with fields set to this. So we are expecting an object with a single field called bar with a value of 42. Yeah.
Waiting for the server to start right now, right? Sorry, this whole terminal on top of a terminal visually confused me.
Yeah, and the server is started. Let's see it. Okay, foo was bar indeed, and bar is 42 in the response. Great. Nice. Okay, so we can now talk JSON. Probably, I want to do another refactor, I guess.
Are you suggesting that you make the code pretty when it's live coded on a live stream, Marcin?
Yes, just less noise where I'm actually experimenting. So I like to push things I will be using a lot. Let's leave it for now. This is not too much boilerplate. Okay. So we have a JSON we have an endpoint that is listening on some port, and this endpoint can.
You know what the zero represents? Yeah.
Sorry.
Do we know what the 0 at the end of HTTP server create represents yet?
No. Good question, though. Right, create. Int backlog. The socket backlog. If this value is less than or equal to 0, then a system default value is used. Right, so this means use the system default value for whatever this was.
I don't know what socket backlog means.
Probably the number of packets it can store before going oh no, start handling things faster.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Like at some point, it will just go back to the sender and say, stop sending stuff. I cannot handle this.
Cool.
Right. So since we are already in this Java doc, let's do routing.
Grim Tuesday has asked a question. Why do you have JSON.FromPairs but not pairs.toJSON? Do you not have a method to convert to JSON? Let's see why.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is actually a great question. Somewhat philosophical in how we design APIs. So there is a toJSON method on vectors, right?
Right.
But the toJSON method on vectors returns a JSON array with all the contents serialized. So if I run toJSON on this thing, I would actually get a JSON array containing a JSON array containing 2 elements, bar and bus, and not an object. So this is sort of how we are changing the semantics of what JSON serialization would be.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning it's probably better implemented as a helper method in the JSON module.
Right.
Although there is nothing stopping us from like defining a method on this that would be something like toJSON object from pairs, something like that. Like what do we call that? It's a very specific use case. So also we don't really want to pollute the vector namespace with so specific JSON helpers.
Right, makes sense. Okay. That is. Never mind. That 4 is probably not relevant. I was going to say that might make things weird when we start to return JSON in response to GET requests, for example, but I guess we actually just write the JSON in text and give it to them that way.
Yeah, we can also like this returns a legit JSON object
Right.
if we don't add the toText at the end.
Right.
So we could also handle that. It's just the shape of the JSON that we construct.
Got you.
Actually, let me do this. I can go type my response bar, and I could then go my response 42.toJSON.toText, and this should do the same thing. So we can start the server and verify that in the background while we start reading about what the context is and how do we do routing with that server.
Okay.
So we have create context. Creates an HTTP context without initially specifying a handler. Well, I kind of want to specify the handler, so how about this one? Creates a mapping from a URI path to an exchange handler on this HTTP server. Once created, all requests received by the server for the path will be handled by calling them the given handler object. The context is identified by the path and can later be removed from the server. Specifies the root URI for this context. Right, and there should be some sort of... Oh, okay, this helps. So if we create 3 contexts like this, this will match to context 3 because it starts with up_foo and it's very specific. This, for some reason, this doesn't match to context 2. So I assume this only accepts like 1/ in the path. If I understand correctly.
Wait. No match from case. No, it's because they're complaining about the capital, right?
Yeah, but if this wasn't foo, but just some completely different word, would it work then? This is not clear to me from the documentation.
No, because there's no context defined for the completely different word. So I think they're saying that doesn't match to apps foo because foo is defined with lowercase. I think that route is just saying that it's case.
But does it? Okay, so my question is,
yeah,
does it match to context 2? Because it technically matches context 2.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a good question.
We will have to experiment with this one.
Or maybe it's because they go. Yeah. Okay, I see what your original question about. They only go because of the extra slash. I see where that question now makes sense to me. Yes, I think that's probably what is happening.
All right. We will be experimenting with this. Also, let's verify this thing here. Right. So you can see that I can also do. I can take any type. I can just go to JSON on that type, and I will get some automatically generated
That's very cool.
JSON representation for this. So we don't even have to use JSON from pairs anymore. We can just do this.
That's super cool.
And of course, you can overwrite this JSON representation, right? So like I can, if I don't like this type field here, I can just get rid of it.
Right.
Do it manually. All right. Routing.
Grim Tuesday, I'm very confused how your setup is working. I thought you were watching us on YouTube, but you're chatting to us on Twitch. Very intrigued.
Okie doke. I'm just thinking about how do I actually want to structure this code. So this is like a very mutable builder. I guess I will just use a mutable builder for now, and then figure out how to. So this is for anyone watching. This is the biggest struggle of between actually trying to run some Java-like code and versus creating a library based on a Java library, right? Enso is functional, Enso doesn't really like mutable memory, so we are trying to wrap the APIs such that there is no mutability happening. But in order to do that correctly, I have to first use the mutable version for a while to kind of understand what options does it have, and how I actually want to rewrap that. So let's do create server will be just this and this, and then we return the server. What happened here? So
that makes sense, Grim Tuesday. Thanks, that's no. Sorry.
So I am now creating an empty server that doesn't do anything interesting, and I'm not starting it yet. And then, actually, let's wrap the server in a type already. So we have type server, server. We have a Java server inside. This will allow me to like write methods on it. So I will have a more fluent API of like server.create and then .start, .add route, and so on and so forth, which should be much cleaner. So we want to be able to start the server. So we go start equals this Java server start, and we want to add a route with a given path and a given handler. And the way we will do this is this.java server.create context for the path with a my handler of the handler fn. Okay, so I can add routes, I can start the server. This is great. So, and I also want to return the wrapped server from the create server method. So if this went well, I should do something like server equals here dot create server. And now I should be able to server dot add route for this, and also and I want to start the server. So server.start. Okay, this is looking less and less Javy. I'm very happy about this. So starting the server. So yeah, so what I've done for testing is we have a root route that will that will do what it was doing all along, and another route that goes to /endpoint that prints something and returns my response with 31. And I think this should be fine. I'm missing the trailing slashes. I hope that's not a problem, although it may be a problem.
As in you're missing the trailing slashes in your testing or in the handling?
No, it only says the first character must be.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't printed starting server now, so I won't know if it runs. It does run. All right. And let's go to /endpoint. Empty
Nice.
reply from server.
Oh, maybe not nice. The top one says hit the. Oh, there's no.
Yeah. Okay. So we did
yeah.
hit the endpoint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's great. But of course.
Why did you not get response?
Because I
Didn't
made
send it as-
everything fail. Anyway. Right. So this is just probably like throwing some hairy exceptions in the actual Java code responsible for the server.
Can I ask what is possibly a really stupid question? So scrolling up a bit, looking at your definition of the type server, is there... I don't really even know how to ask this question. What is the thinking behind the server equals HTTP server.create? Like, why would you not do that within the server type?
Because this is more of a smart constructor than an instance method, right?
Got you. Okay.
So, sort of like in Haskell, for example, you have map.empty, and you don't use the actual constructors, right? You just have a helper method that allows you to create something, and then you have a.
Got you.
But I could do this in principle, right? Like I could just move those into this type and then go server.create server without actually specifying this parameter.
I guess this means the server type is abstract from the actual Java standard library HTTP server root, so you could give it another Java server library if you so chose.
Yeah. Also, this just gives me a nicer API, so I'm really happy about not having to think about there being FFI calls. So if you look at this code, I don't think there is any top level Java call anymore in this example.
Got you.
Right. So we can add a bunch of routes. What else would you like to do, Joe?
So we are responding with JSON, right? That's what's happening right there in that endpoint route. Great. Do we need to do anything specific for dealing with get versus post? So I noticed in these routes we're not specifying whether they're get or post endpoints, which is something I honestly don't actually know why it's there, but it's something I see in other routing libraries.
Right. Yes. So there is So we are completely ignoring what verb was used for the HTTP request. We are also completely ignoring headers and everything. We are a very simple server at this point.
So the headers for Battlesnake, for my selfish application, headers don't matter. For web hooks, they will, because there's often a webhook verification dance where stuff gets sent over the headers. So we will need to start looking into headers as well.
Okay, let's start with verbs. Verbs probably do matter for Battlesnake, don't they?
Yeah. The verbs do, yes. There's get and there's post, the only two that are used.
Right, so I'm thinking about how to do this. So most servers that I have used, they actually allow you to specify this at the router level.
Yes.
Which seems like this one is not actually doing, unless there is some sort of filtering I can do. Let's go to the specification for HTTP handler. Right, that takes an HTTP exchange, whatever that is.
It looks like no, that's not it.
So we can get the request method. This is probably going to be what we want. But I can't believe there isn't like some sort of
you think it'd be high level
automatic filter for that. I really want to just hit different.
Welcome to the two people reading through some Java documentation stream. Please enjoy us sitting here silently furrowing our brows at Java documentation.
Yeah, I hope this is entertaining for everyone as much as it actually is entertaining for me. Okay, seems like there is. But wait, there was something like this. This is actually using the word filters. But what is a
Yeah, I saw filters on contexts, but I wasn't.
Filter. Okay, this is probably some sort of a more lower level filter. Okay, whatever. We will write it in Enso. How cool is that?
That's very cool. I'm excited. I will keep looking.
Okay. One more thing I need to look up this time in the Enso documentation is we already have a type defined for the HTTP verbs, so I would rather just reuse it.
Yep.
So this should be somewhere in network and what? HTTP method. Right, so we have a bunch of types defined for those, which is great. Yeah. Where is it again? HTTP base network HTTP method. All right. This is becoming more complicated now. We actually have to store the handlers because we want to do some more generic pre-filtering of those. Okay, again, this is an interesting question of how to design this. So we can only register servers in Java based on the path. But from the Enso side, we want to group by the path for different verbs, right? So we want to have a different handler for a post to a given endpoint.
Yes,
and for
correct.
a get for a given endpoint.
Yeah. So I saw something suggesting that the request object will have the verb in it. But that was a random Stack Overflow answer, and I can't actually verify that.
It does. So if you look at the HTTP exchange, we have the method getter somewhere. Yeah, get request method. So
Great.
this is going to be what we want.
Cool.
Wait, why don't I actually see this?
It's linked and not actually in. There we go.
Get the request method. Well, that was helpful. Okay, so I guess another thing we have to do is actually figure out what format do they use. Like, is it all uppercase? Is it all lowercase?
What I saw suggested it was the verbs are all uppercase.
Sorry?
So what I saw suggested the verbs were just uppercase.
Okay, cool. So let's assume it's uppercase.
Keymar says, I love the syntax. I'm used to Python, but this syntax is readable still. I'm so glad. And I'm sure Marcin's very happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Actually, the previous version of this language was closer to Python and a much worse language. So I don't
know if that was like the point of like relating to this viewer that you were hoping for there.
No. I was okay. Let me go back and say it without mistakes. So the previous version of Luna was a very bad language, but the syntax was closer to Python's. And I was actually wondering if Pythonists would find this one appealing, and I'm happy they do.
Excellent.
I hope I have not offended anyone.
Perfect. Cool. So we know which method we're using now. That's nice. So yeah, I completely interrupted your thinking about how to shape this library. I'm very sorry.
Yes. Okay. So let's have a handler set type that's going to be a set of handlers for a given route, a mapping from a verb to a function. Yes. So let's do. This is actually going to. No, it's not going to. Anyway. Wait, no. Yes, it does. It does have to be. Okay. Method handler. I don't know. We'll figure it out where we get there. Method handlers, and this is going to be storing a map from the method to a handler. And then it needs to implement handle. So what it needs to do is handle t is, it probably needs to copy paste a lot of this code. And now when we handle a request, we don't have this handler anymore. We have the handlers map. And what we have to do is we have to go method is t.getRequest method. And then we want to look up the correct handler from the handlers map. So we want to get the method and this is going to be a function. So what we want to do next is actually apply that function to the request body. Wow. Okay. I hope this works. It probably doesn't, but we'll find out.
That's what I like to hear about code.
And then another thing we want to do is we want to store the actual map. We want to store a map from path to a method handlers object. Yes, and then when I add a route, I want to add into that map. Wow, this is going to be fun.
I'm so sorry.
No, this is great. It's just more than I expected for my poor little brain at this hour. Okay.
If there's an easier problem to solve, we can jump over to that.
No, we cannot just solve only the simple problems. We have to tackle everything head on. Right. So instead of doing this, we actually want to probably return a new server. Wait, okay, so we want to go existing handler is route this dot route handlers dot get.
Oh, are we down on Twitch
path.
again?
Oh no. Well.
Oh my god, that's really annoying. Are you alright to jump over to new room again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me